Hello everyone, welcome to this video. I hope you're all doing well. As usual, we will continue our preparation journey towards ISI and CMI. We'll be doing PYQs because that's the best way to prepare for an examination. And that's all I got for now. And another thing, important information, we have started IOQM preparation batch. And if you are willing to prepare for IOQM and if you don't find time to prepare it while preparing for JEE, NEET, these things, please consider joining the course because we will be conducting it 3 times a week in the night during the time of 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. So you won't find it intersecting with other preparation timings. You'll find it very, very helpful. So yeah, the links will be in the description, and please go to the channel and watch the announcement video to find the details about the batch. All right, that's it. So we'll start with this without much delay. Yeah. So yeah, find with proof all the possible values of t such that this happens. This is more of a JEE advanced type of a question, isn't it? So I hope you can figure it out immediately. I hope you have paused the video and tried it for yourself. So let's just begin. So now, the important thing which we will be using is the fact that if you have a limit of this type, limit n tends to infinity, 1 by n summation f of k by n. K is varying from 1 to n, 1 to n, 0 to n doesn't. This will be equal to integral from 0 to 1 f of x dx. All right. This is the I explained why this happens in the what is that called, definite integration video, right? I made a whole playlist on calculus, covering calculus. If you have not watched it, please go and watch in the ISI CMI preparation. There is, I don't know what the playlist is called. Please go and check it out. So yeah, so in that I did cover that this sum happens to be 0 to 1 this, and it is totally a mathematical statement to be used. You can use this statement directly. Okay. So now we have something like this. So let's rewrite the question. So we have limit n tends to infinity 1 by n power t summation k power 1 by 3, k is varying from 1 to n. Okay. So this is not like that, but we can convert it into that form. So, and this is equal to c, and what is the value of c? That's the question. And for which value of t? Okay. So this is limit n tends to infinity. If I want to have k by n whole power something, k by n, function of k by n, that's what I want to write it as. So I want to have this basically, k by n whole power 1 by 3. So what do I need to get here? I need to get 1 by n power t minus 1 by 3, because one of the 1 by 3's goes here, right? Okay. And I need to get a 1 by n outside. So I can write this again as, okay, rewrite. Limit n tends to infinity. I need to get 1 by n summation k by n whole power 1 by 3. Right. So this whole thing, we know what this is. So we will have n power t minus 1 by 3 minus 1. So 4 by 3. Right. This is what we have. So if t is exactly 4 by 3, that would imply that this value is simply, c. This is c, right? So c is equal to integral 0 to 1 x power 1 by 3 dx. So that will be x power 4 by 3 by 4 by 3, 0 to 1. So that is simply 3 by 4. Right? So C will be 3 by 4 if T was 4 by 3. But if, what happens if T is, let's say, greater than 4 by 3? If it is greater than 4 by 3, you will have limit n tends to infinity 1 by n summation k by n whole power 4 by 3, 1 by 3, k varies from 1 to n whatever, whole divided by n power t minus 4 by 3. And this is a totally, there, it's there. This is tending to some constant. This is tending to the integral. But this is tending to infinity. So overall, this will be 0. So if t is greater than this, C is 0. What happens if t is less than 4 by 3? Then our C will be limit n tends to less than 4 by 3 in the sense what? 4 by 3 minus t is positive. So instead of in the denominator, I'll write it in the numerator. N tends to infinity, n power 4 by 3 minus t into the whole thing, 1 by n summation k by n whole cube. Now this is finite or tending to finite quantity, but this is tending to infinity. So this will be infinity. So yeah, so you know for which case what will be happening. This is a very easy question. I did it under 5 minutes. You can also do it probably within. Okay. All right. So next question. Try to do it. This is somewhat trickier than that one. Okay. So this function is supposed to have only two real roots. Okay. How do we prove that? First of all, if you are given a polynomial, right? Now this happened to me in my ISI entrance examination. If I was given a polynomial actually, so, and I was asked to find out what happens, like how many roots does it have? They didn't even ask how many roots. They asked what are the roots of this polynomial. What are the roots? Like it was a degree 7 polynomial or something. I tried to put 1, 2, and it didn't work, and it was getting messy. And later I realized that it had terms which had only odd powers. It didn't have any term with even power, right? That means if I differentiated it, the differential will have all the even powers only, and it also had a constant term outside. So that means that it will be strictly increasing. It was strictly greater than 0. F dash was strictly greater than 0. So it was a strictly increasing function, and I immediately told them that it will have exactly one root because it is strictly increasing there, and it will keep on increasing. So it will intersect the x-axis only once. And they said, okay, very good. And they did not even ask what are the roots. So they were just trying to trick me probably into doing some mistake, doing some extra overthinking, and spoil the paper. But it is the presence of mind which they are expecting from you. That's what I got from that particular question. I was asked 3 questions. There was another logarithm question, and one of the questions was, I think, permutation combination. But it was totally fun. I thoroughly enjoyed. After the 3 questions were done, it was done within 20 to 25 minutes. I was jumping up, and I just went and hugged my father, and I cracked it. And my father also said, "Arey, ho jayega. It'll happen. Don't worry." So yeah, that was a good memory. Anyways, let's get back to this question. So here we are supposed to find only 2 real roots, namely 0 and 1. Okay. So for 2 roots, how would a function look like? If it was only 1 root, I said that if you differentiate it, it will strictly increase and whatever. For 2 roots, exactly 2 roots for every n. So let's see what happens again by differentiating. So what is the differentiation? Qn dash of x. So this is obviously 0 minus n x power n minus 1 minus n into 1 minus x whole power n, and because I'm also differentiating chain rule, in the inside thing, this is minus 1. So I will have minus n x power n minus 1, this minus plus n 1 minus x whole power n. So this is Qn dash of x. So when is Qn dash 0? Qn dash of x equal to 0 implies minus n x power n minus 1 plus n into 1 minus x whole power n minus 1 equal to 0. And we are talking about real numbers only, so obviously we won't consider the complex roots or anything. So if I cancel out n, so I basically have 1 minus x whole power n minus 1 equals to x power n minus 1. And yeah, as I said, we were talking about real numbers, so it has to happen that 1 minus x is equal to x, so x is equal to 1 by 2, right? So q dash has only one root. So what does that immediately tell you? For every value of n, Qn dash has only one root. So that means for every value of n, it will be something like this or something like this. That means that, this is the point, this is 1 by 2. That means that it will intersect x-axis only 2 times. It will intersect x-axis only 2 times. So how do we prove it exactly? How do we prove it? So what happens when x is less than 1 by 2? X is less than 1 by 2 implies x power n is less than 1 by 2 power n. And what is 1 by nsx? 1 minus x will be greater than 1 by 2. That means 1 minus x whole power n will be greater than 1 by 2 power n. Right? So what do we have? Qn of x is 1 minus x power n minus 1 minus x whole power n. That is 1 minus of x power n plus plus 1 minus x whole power. So if you, how do I add these two? I don't think they're getting added so easily. Is this what I had? Is that what I had? Okay. Can I want to show, okay. What happens if x is less than, okay. Let's not talk that. Let's not talk about Qn, right? Let's talk about what happens to Q dash n. All right. So I have Q dash n of x to be 1 minus x whole power n minus 1 minus x power n minus 1, right? And if you see the difference, okay, minus 1, even if I take that, if I take the difference, this is going to be positive. This is going to be positive for this, for x less than 1 by 2. That means the graph of Qn of x will be increasing when x is greater than 1 by 2. And by similar calculations, if you see, similarly, Qn dash of x will be less than 0 for x greater than 1 by 2. That means it is something like this, right? At 1 by 2, it is 0. For less than 1 by 2, it is increasing. Here it is decreasing. So it has to intersect only at two places. And we know that 0 and 1 are the roots of this. So yeah, it's very simple, very, very easy question. But you have to write the steps properly. I think that's what was the important part in this question. So I hope you found it helpful, guys. And of course, I want to remind you again about IOQM preparation course. If you are interested, please join. So meet you there. Take care. Good night.